Found out what actually happened to Aaliyah. There was no way I could stay.
Oh my God.
And then I started doing my research and I started talking to other victims. I should have never signed that non-disclosure agreement, but I did. I took the blood oath and so did my first husband.
Whoa.
And I left.
That's why it ain't never been right since, because you left it. You don't leave anything like that.
I did. And he was paid to be my husband so no one would know who I was really involved.
Picture this. The internet wakes up buzzing, timelines on fire, fans scrambling for answers, and one headline refuses to go away. 50 Cent exposes what Netflix hid about Jay-Z Episode 4 was cut. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let's be very clear. We're not saying this actually happened. What we're talking about is the reports, the whispers, and the storm of commentary that has suddenly taken over social media. And trust me, emotions are running high. According to growing online chatter, something behind the scenes allegedly didn't sit right. Fans claim that an entire segment tied to Jay-Z was mysteriously missing from a Netflix documentary episode that was supposed to change everything. And right at the center of these reports, none other than 50 Cent. A man known for never biting his tongue and never backing down when he feels a story is being controlled. Social media users are saying he didn't just hint at it, he allegedly called it out. Fans are shocked, confused, and honestly, divided. One side believes this is just internet noise spiraling out of control. The other side is convinced there's more going on than what made it to the screen. Why would an episode be cut? Why would one of the biggest names in hip-hop be left out of a conversation fans were expecting to see? And why are people suddenly pointing fingers at Netflix? Interview 3.06, 3.50. What really fueled the fire was how quickly these claims spread. Comment sections exploded with theories. Longtime hip-hop followers started revisiting old interviews. Casual viewers suddenly felt like they'd missed a chapter in a much bigger story. And right in the middle of it all, 50 Cent's name kept coming up, attached to words like warning, exposure, and silenced. Whether this is speculation, exaggeration, or something deeper, one thing is undeniable. The conversation has taken on a life of its own. Fans feel like they're being kept in the dark, emotions are boiling over, and the industry silence is only making the noise louder. So the real question becomes, if this is just talk, why does it feel like everyone's afraid to address it? The conversation really started gaining momentum when viewers began comparing notes online and realizing that something felt off. People who had watched early promotional clips claimed certain moments never appeared in the final version. Others said they remembered seeing references in trailers that simply vanished once the episode aired. Again, none of this proves anything actually happened, but the reports alone were enough to shake the fan base. The idea that content could be reshaped or quietly removed sparked a wave of suspicion, especially in a culture already sensitive to who gets protected and who gets exposed. Interview 4.414.56. According to online commentary, 50 Cent became part of the discussion because of his long history of speaking openly about industry politics. Fans started circulating old clips where he
playing football and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is, and you trying to say that you not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls.
Clips where he talked about power, control, and how platforms decide which stories feel safe enough to tell. People weren't saying he confirmed anything directly. Instead, they suggested that his reactions, facial expressions, and vague comments were being interpreted as hints. Emotions ran high as viewers replayed interviews, reading between the lines and drawing conclusions that may or may not have been fair. Some fans argued that Netflix has always been careful when dealing with certain names. They pointed out that documentaries often walk a thin line between storytelling and legal caution. From this perspective, cutting or reshaping content wouldn't be shocking at all. Others pushed back hard, saying that if the project promised transparency, then leaving anything out felt like a betrayal. The family of hip-hop fans debates stretching across timelines and comment sections late into the night. Interview. What? Added fuel to the fire was the timing. The episode dropped during a period.
Does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's...
When audiences were already questioning the credibility of big media platforms. Trust was fragile, so when viewers noticed gaps, even imagined ones, the reaction was intense. Some claimed the missing material involved discussions that connected powerful figures in uncomfortable ways. Again, these were claims based on speculation, but speculation can be loud, and it travels fast. Suddenly, everyone felt like a detective piecing together a puzzle that might not even exist. People close to the situation, at least according to rumor accounts, were said to be frustrated. Fans speculated about private conversations behind closed doors, tense phone calls, and last-minute edits made under pressure. They imagined executives arguing over what could air and what had to be softened. They imagined creators feeling torn between telling the story they wanted and protecting the deal they had. None of this is confirmed, but the storytelling almost wrote itself in the minds of viewers. Interview. The emotional stakes were high because Jay-Z's name carries weight. For many, he represents success, strategy, and
the new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay. I go, oh shoot, like
to us, black excellence,
that had to be there.
We getting tighter, you know what I'm saying? And united we stand, and ain't nothing else.
Black excellence, they're sitting there like, yeah. It's the billionaire brunch. You're like,
I hate you, man.
unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year. Come on, bro.
I mean, that's how it is.
industry that has chewed up countless artists. So when reports hinted that his presence might have been minimized or removed, people reacted strongly. Some rushed to defend him, saying silence does not equal guilt. Others questioned why his perspective would be missing from a narrative that claimed to explore the full picture. Fans were shocked not just by the rumor itself, but by how believable it felt to them. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's reputation for blunt honesty kept pulling him back into the spotlight. Fans recalled how he has previously accused media companies of selective storytelling. They replayed moments where he laughed off censorship claims while still implying that powerful hands shaped the final cut. Even when he said nothing directly, his history filled in the blanks for viewers.
Let's just start with Piers Morgan, because there's a headline that went out that was very powerful that people are running with, where it just says, Jay-Z is the real monster. Now, before you speak on it, to even get to Piers Morgan, can you explain how that took place and why even take that interview to go forward?
I can't say that I sought it out because I didn't. Truth is we didn't see it coming. But I have to credit Odell.
Odeezy.
They reached out to him. Piers Morgan's producers called him directly.
High as people debated whether he was warning the audience or simply enjoying the chaos. Enter, friends of fans, family members, even casual viewers started chiming in. Group chats lit up with messages asking, "Did you notice that part missing too?" Some admitted they hadn't noticed anything at all until social media pointed it out. Others said they couldn't unsee the gaps once the idea was planted. This is how narratives grow, not necessarily from facts, but from shared curiosity and doubt. The story became less about what was on screen and more about what might have been left out. The idea of a cut episode or altered segment struck a nerve because it played into a larger fear. The fear that the truth is always filtered, that by the time a story reaches the public, it has already been shaped to fit a comfortable version. Fans didn't just feel entertained anymore. They felt invested, almost personally involved, as if something had been taken from them. Betrayal was a word that popped up often in comments, even though no one could say for sure who, if anyone, was to blame.
First of all, that vote is fake as f***. That's not a real vote. That's not a real vote. They give it to who they want to give it to. They give it to their darlings.
Cowboy Carter. Beyonce.
I guarantee you that the people from the Grammys was on the phone with Beyonce's people.
Discussions grew louder. So did the imagined consequences. People speculated about relationships being strained behind the scenes. They imagined creators feeling silenced, artists feeling misrepresented, and executives feeling cornered. In these imagined scenarios, trust eroded quickly. Every silence felt intentional. Every vague response felt loaded. Even Netflix's lack of direct response became part of the drama, with fans interpreting quietness as confirmation instead of neutrality. By this point, the narrative had evolved into something bigger than a single episode. It became a symbol of how stories are controlled and how power operates quietly. Some fans said this situation reminded them of past moments when uncomfortable truths were delayed delayed or diluted. Others insisted this was nothing more than online hysteria. Still, the emotional conflict remained unresolved because the questions kept coming and the answers stayed just out of reach. Interview.
Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She'd like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Ellen Reed, Steve Bartles, Tata, Jay Brown, Karen Kwok for finding this amazing record. Tricky, Dream for writing such a beautiful record. Thank you, I love you guys.
The situation especially intense was that no clear villain or hero emerged. Everyone was painted in shades of gray. 50 Cent was seen by some as a truth-teller and by others as a provocateur. Netflix was viewed as either cautious or complicit. Jay-Z was framed as either protected or unfairly targeted. The lack of clarity kept the drama alive, forcing viewers to sit with uncertainty rather than resolution. And so, the conversation continued to spiral, driven not by confirmed facts, but by feeling. Fans felt like something important was being danced around. They felt the tension between what was shown and what might exist beyond the frame. In that emotional space, rumors thrived, interpretations multiplied, and the story refused to settle. The main body of this discussion wasn't about proof, but about perception. And perception, once shaken, is hard to repair. That unsettled feeling pushed people to dig even deeper. And the deeper they went, the louder the noise became. Fan pages started pulling screenshots from old interviews, comparing timelines and overlaying clips side by side. Again, nothing here was confirmed, but the passion behind the search.
Because he sold his touring career to Live Nation, they got to keep him hot enough to go get their money back. So they match him up with him, put them together because he got momentum connected to his relationship with Beyonce and his record with Alicia. And sold like 60 million records more than him. How you put them there like the equals?
The search was undeniable. People weren't just watching content anymore, they were interrogating it. Every pause, every edit, every missing transition became evidence in the court of public opinion. According to online discussions, some viewers claimed they noticed abrupt jumps in the episode's flow. Scenes that felt emotionally heavy would suddenly cut away, leaving no resolution. For some, it felt like chapters were missing. Others argued that documentaries are often edited this way and that audiences were reading too much into it. Still, the disagreement itself kept the story alive. Emotions ran high as fans accused each other of being naive or paranoid, and the family of viewers remained sharply divided. What intensified the drama was the way certain influencers jumped in. Commentary channels began framing the situation as Jay-Z's name continued to be the emotional core of the discussion. Supporters felt he was being unfairly dragged into speculation simply because of his status. Critics questioned why powerful figures always seem untouched when stories turn uncomfortable. Neither side had concrete answers, only strong feelings. This emotional clash made the debate personal. It wasn't just about a documentary anymore, it was about who gets questioned and who gets shielded in the entertainment world. Some fans claimed to have insider knowledge, though none could verify it. They spoke of last-minute calls, emergency meetings, and legal teams reviewing footage frame by frame. These stories spread quickly, despite lacking proof, because they fit a narrative many already believed. The idea that powerful interests can influence what audiences see felt believable to a generation. Raised on exposed scandals and leaked truths, once again, perception outweighed evidence. Friends and family of viewers began weighing in, sometimes without even watching the episode themselves. Opinions were formed based on clips, tweets, and secondhand summaries. This created a ripple effect where belief traveled faster than information. Emotions ran high as people argued over something few had fully examined. The drama fed on itself, growing larger with each retelling, each reaction video, each heated comment. Netflix, single quotes as position, or lack of one, became another focal point. Some said the platform had no obligation to address internet rumors. Others felt that transparency could calm the storm. Silence was interpreted in every possible way. For some, it meant guilt. For others, professionalism. This ambiguity kept the tension alive, allowing viewers to project their own expectations onto the situation. What made the narrative even more gripping was how it echoed past industry moments. Fans recalled times when stories were initially dismissed as rumors, only to later reveal deeper truths. They also remembered moments when speculation went nowhere and harmed reputations unfairly. This dual memory made people cautious yet curious. They didn't want to be fooled, but they didn't want to ignore something important either. The emotional conflict became internal as well as external. Viewers questioned their own instincts. Were they seeing patterns that weren't there? Or were they sensing something real? This uncertainty is powerful because it keeps people engaged. The story lingered in their minds long after the episode ended. It became a conversation starter, a debate topic, and for some, a source of frustration. 50 Cent's past statements about media control were replayed again and again. Fans quoted lines about who owns the narrative and who decides what truth looks like. Even if those comments were made in entirely different contexts, they were now framed as prophetic. Supporters argued this was proof he had been warning people for years. Critics said this was unfair hindsight bias. Still, the emotional weight of those words hit differently in the current climate. Jay-Z's silence was also interpreted through multiple lenses. Some saw it as dignified restraint. Others viewed it as strategic distance. Emotions ran high as people debated what a response would even look like. Would speaking up calm the storm or fuel it further? No one knew, and that uncertainty added another layer to the drama. The lack of direct engagement allowed speculation to fill the gap. As days passed, the story refused to fade. New angles emerged, old clips resurfaced, and opinions hardened. What started as a question about editing choices evolved into a broader discussion about power, storytelling, and trust. The emotional stakes remained high because people felt invested not just in the individuals involved, but in what the situation represented. The idea that audiences might never see the full picture lingered heavily. By now, the narrative had become less about proving anything and more about expressing frustration. Frustration with systems, with silence, with the feeling of always being one step removed from the truth. Fans weren't just shocked, they were emotionally exhausted. Yet, they kept watching, commenting, and debating, because unresolved stories have a way of pulling people back in, again and again. That exhaustion did not slow the conversation down. It only changed its tone. What started as curiosity gradually shifted into something heavier, something more personal. Fans began talking less about edits and more about trust. They asked whether audiences are ever given the full truth or if they are always consuming a version that has been carefully shaped. This emotional shift made the discussion feel deeper, almost philosophical, and it kept people emotionally invested. Commentary videos grew more intense, with creators speaking directly to their viewers, almost as if they were confiding in close friends. They described feeling uneasy, not because of what was proven, but because of how familiar the situation felt. Many said they had seen this pattern before, where silence and ambiguity create space for suspicion. Emotions ran high as these creators reminded their audiences that powerful platforms rarely move without careful calculation. Some fans began focusing on the human side of the story. They imagined how it might feel for artists to see their narratives discussed, reshaped, or questioned without their input. Even though this was all based on reports and reactions, empathy entered the conversation. People debated whether public figures owe explanations or whether privacy should still matter. The family of fans remained divided, torn between wanting answers and respecting boundaries. 50 Cent's image as a disruptor continued to loom large. People revisited moments from his career where he openly challenged industry giants. They spoke about how he built a brand around transparency, even when it cost him relationships. Whether fair or not, this history colored how fans interpreted the current situation. They felt that if anyone would call out hidden moves, it would be him. Emotions ran high as supporters framed him as a voice for the audience, while critics accused him of benefiting from controversy. J-C, meanwhile, became a symbol rather than just a person in the conversation. For some, he represented everything aspirational about the industry. For others, he embodied the idea of untouchable power. This dual perception intensified reactions. Fans weren't just discussing one individual. They were projecting their feelings about success, privilege, and accountability onto his name. The emotional weight of that projection made the debate feel charged and personal. Rumors continued to evolve, growing more detailed with each retelling. Some spoke of unseen footage that allegedly connected stories in uncomfortable ways. Others claimed that legal concerns forced creative changes at the last minute. None of these claims were verified, yet they spread because they matched the emotional expectations of the audience. People are more likely to believe a story that feels true, even if it cannot be proven. Friends of fans began pushing back, urging caution. They reminded others how quickly misinformation can spiral. These voices added another layer of tension, as they were sometimes accused of defending power rather than seeking truth. Emotions ran high as conversations turned heated, with accusations flying in both directions. The story became a mirror, reflecting how easily people can become divided when clarity is absent. Netflix, as silence continued to loom over everything. Some argued that addressing rumors would only legitimize them. Others felt that ignoring the audience was disrespectful. This debate itself kept the platform at the center of attention, even without a single statement. The absence of words became a character in the drama, shaping reactions through what was not said. What made this phase of the story especially intense was how personal it felt to viewers. People shared their own experiences of feeling misled by institutions or media. They connected those feelings to the current discussion, giving it emotional depth. It was no longer just about an episode or a rumored cut. It was about feeling unheard and unseen, about questioning who controls narratives and why. 50. Since past feuds and alliances were re-examined through this new lens, fans debated whether his history made him more credible or more biased. Some felt his honesty came from hard-earned experience. Others believed his confrontational style made him unreliable. Emotions ran high as these debates played out, with each side convinced they were protecting the truth. Jay-Z's legacy was also pulled into the spotlight. Supporters argued that decades of work and influence should not be reduced to rumor-fueled speculation. Critics countered that influence is exactly why questions should be asked. This push and pull kept the story alive, refusing to settle into a single narrative. The lack of resolution was frustrating, but it was also compelling. As time went on, the conversation began to fracture into smaller discussions. Some focused on media ethics, others on celebrity accountability, others simply enjoyed the drama as entertainment. Yet, all these threads traced back to the same emotional core. Fans felt something important was being danced around, and that feeling refused to fade. In this stage, the story became less explosive, but more persistent. It lingered like an unresolved argument, resurfacing whenever someone mentioned Netflix, 50 Cent, or Jay-Z. People carried the discussion with them, bringing it up in new contexts, adding fresh interpretations. The drama no longer needed new rumors to survive. It had become self-sustaining, fueled by emotion, memory, and the ever-present question of what might exist beyond what the audience was shown. That lingering question eventually became the quiet engine driving everything forward. Quiet engine driving everything forward. The reactions from fans continued to shape the narrative. Some expressed disappointment, not anger, saying they felt let down by the idea that transparency might have limits. Others pushed back, arguing that audiences place unrealistic expectations on creators and platforms. The family of viewers remained divided, yet strangely connected by the same unresolved feeling. Even opposing sides agreed on one thing: something about this situation felt unfinished. As discussions matured, people began acknowledging how easily stories can spiral beyond their origins. What may have started as speculation about editing choices had grown into a broader emotional debate about power and silence. Fans admitted that even if nothing was ever confirmed, the conversation itself had revealed how fragile trust had become. This realization added weight to the story, making it less about drama and more about collective unease. 50 Cent's presence in the narrative remains symbolic. Even without direct involvement, his name carried meaning. Fans spoke about how certain figures become lightning rods for larger frustrations, whether people admired him or criticized him. They agreed that his reputation for challenging authority made him an easy focal point. Emotions ran high as viewers debated whether this was fair or simply inevitable in a culture that thrives on personalities. Jay-Z's role continued to exist in a similar symbolic space. For some, he represented everything that fans felt excluded from: boardrooms, decisions, and power structures they could never see. For others, he was a reminder of how easily success attracts suspicion. This duality kept the conversation emotionally charged. No matter which side people took, they felt strongly about it. The longer the silence lasted, the more creative the interpretations became. Fans imagined alternate versions of the episode, unseen conversations, and different editorial choices. Some spoke of what they wished had been included, rather than what was rumored to be missing. This shift showed how deeply invested audiences had become. They were no longer just consuming content, they were rewriting it in their minds. Netflix, intentionally or not, remains central to every interpretation. Some fans eventually acknowledged that the platform might simply be following standard practices. Others insisted that standard practices themselves deserve scrutiny. Emotions ran high as people debated whether large companies could ever prioritize truth over risk. The lack of clarity kept every perspective feeling possible, which in turn kept the drama alive. Friends and family conversations reflected this same tension. People described arguing at dinner tables or in group chats about whether the situation mattered at all. Some felt it was just entertainment gossip. Others felt it pointed to something much larger about media responsibility. This contrast highlighted how differently people process uncertainty. For some, it is unsettling. For others, it is fuel for discussion. Over time, the story settled into a strange space between belief and doubt. Fans no longer expected confirmation. Instead, they treated the narrative as a case study, something to reference whenever questions about media control arose. The emotional impact lingered, not because of what was proven, but because of what was left open-ended. What made this final stage so compelling was the acceptance of ambiguity. People learned to sit with unanswered questions, even as they continued to talk about them. Emotions ran high, but they were tempered by reflection rather than outrage. The drama had evolved from explosive reactions into a slow-burning discussion about who tells stories and who decides when those stories are complete. In the end, the situation became a reminder of how powerful suggestion can be. A rumor, a reaction, a silence. Each piece alone might mean nothing. Together, they created a narrative that captured attention and refused to let go. Fans were left divided, not just in opinion, but in feeling. Some felt satisfied simply having the conversation. Others felt unsettled by the lack of closure. And so, the story did not end with a revelation or a confession. It ended with a question mark hanging quietly over the conversation. That question mark became the lasting image, representing doubt, curiosity, and the uneasy feeling that sometimes what matters most is not what is shown, but what people believe might exist just beyond the frame. Now that you have heard all sides of this unfolding discussion, the real question is, what do you think is actually going on here? Is this just another moment where internet speculation took on a life of its own? Or does the reaction itself reveal something deeper about how stories are shaped and shared? Fans are still shocked, emotions are still running high, and the silence from those involved continues to keep the debate alive. Nothing has been proven, but the conversation refuses to fade, and that alone says a lot. This is where your voice matters. You are part of the audience that gives these stories energy, and your perspective adds another layer to the discussion. Do you believe these reports are simply exaggerated reactions, or do you feel there are patterns that people are right to question? Does silence calm situations like this, or does it only make people more suspicious? The family of fans remains divided, and every opinion seems to open the door to another question. If this kind of behind-the-scenes drama fascinates you, then you already know why these conversations keep pulling people back in. Unresolved stories create tension, and tension keeps everyone watching. Whether you see this as entertainment, commentary, or a reflection of larger industry issues, one thing is clear: the discussion is far from over, and different outcomes are still possible depending on who decides to speak and who continues to stay quiet. Now it is your turn to join the conversation. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let everyone know where you stand. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more dramatic commentary like this, make sure you hit like so others can find it too. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss upcoming videos where we dive into more shocking reports, reactions, and industry drama. And most importantly, stay curious, because sometimes the stories that matter most are the ones that never get a clear ending.